Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. This is Tom Newetner, the conversationalist. Well, I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. I hope you don't have too much tryptophan in your system. I overdid it. Been napping quite a bit from the turkey overload. Uh, like and subscribe, share, ring the bell, but your comments are most important to me. Let's give out our little commercial break here for St. Jude. Great, great, wonderful, 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 wonderful organization curing children's cancer and other diseases. Please give them a little donation. Aortic Hope. You want to talk about good people? Go on their website. These are people who survived aortic disease, and they're helping people along the way who are also survivors, but new to the system. And what they do is when you get discharged by your doctor and he says, come see me in 6 months or a year, these people will take over and tell you what to expect, give you direction, understand that they were there, they survived it, and they have a book. So please like and subscribe. Get checked. Get checked. It's a simple, simple thing to get checked. And once you get checked, then your mind will be at peace. Do you know how many people are walking around with aneurysms, almost dissections? Please, it's important. Go to your doctor, get a check, CT scan, MRI, ultrasound, whatever they decide to do. Check your aorta and make sure it's in good shape. I didn't. At 60, the check engine light, no, at 50, the check engine light came on. At 60, the engine stopped. And my whole life changed. If I could go back and do one thing over, when they told me my blood pressure was out of control, I would have taken care of it, but I didn't. So please, I've been there. I want you not to be there. Let's go to way of the heart, PAD, peripheral artery disease. Boy, I panicked. It was all the symptoms I had, and it frightened me when I started watching this, and I watched it for a month before I broke down and got to my doctors and had the test done. And guess what? I don't have peripheral artery disease, but I do have avulsed discs that are giving me the same pain, and also have the swelling of that my left leg, and it's turning in. These are all things from damage during my aortic dissections. However, if you have pains in your legs, if you're a diabetic, they're talking about cutting parts off. Do not do it. Go to PAD on their website, listen to some of the videos. They have amazing things. They can save your limbs. Let me repeat that. If you're diabetic and you want to save your toes or your foot or your leg, go to PAD. I'm serious.
That's padhelp.org.
PADhelp.org. Anyway, they will literally, they have such new, they put wires through them, balloons and boom. I'm not going to ruin the whole thing, but if you have diabetes, if you have poor circulation in your legs, go find these people, watch their videos. You can save your legs, feet, and toes. You can. You need a second opinion. You need a doctor that is progressive enough to want to save the limbs, not just chop them off and get paid. You understand how that works? Doctors are in business, and business is good because they tell everybody they're going to need to chop their toes off because they're going to lose their foot, and 6 months later they lose their foot. See how this goes? And then all of a sudden, below the knee, above the knee, they get paid. So that's their bread and butter. But there is other treatments. I know I'm going long on this, but just had a friend of mine who has diabetes where they wanted to amputate his from the ankle down. And he's seeing a new doctor right now. And the doctor is like in the 70 percentile that he can save the guy's foot. Isn't that amazing? Thank God. All right, last thing. Rock on, baby. We're going in February. We're going to be dancing and partying. Learn a little bit about aortic disease, but it's party hardy time. Show up, be there, enjoy yourself. All right. I want to get started today. By the way, all the family is gone. As you know, Tom Sowell is one of my favorites. He was a professor of mine back when the dinosaurs roamed the earth, and follow him completely, and have spoken to his minions on many occasions, and a few occasions actually got to speak to him. So understand, this guy is 94 years old, raised in the same neighborhood as I was, but I'm 73, has gone through the exact same things for the last 94 years that I've gone through in 73 years. I so relate to this man and the way he thinks and the way he expounds on the most complicated and crazy government issues and societal issues. It just makes it work and makes it easy to put together. So this video, we're gonna do a little deep dive today on changes coming and why your jerk reaction to certain things you need to rethink. Okay, so we're going to play this video that's going to start us out, and then I'm going to start speaking on how to understand change.
Theory and tax cuts for the rich. Thomas Sowell, in his new booklet, quote, "At various times and places, particular individuals have argued that existing tax rates are so high that the government would collect more tax revenues if it lowered those tax rates." Close quote. Explain that argument.
Oh, the argument is based on the belief that people will change their behavior as you change the tax rates. Those of the left often act as if human beings are just like inert blocks of wood or like chess pieces that you can move around on the chessboard to put wherever you want to carry out some grand design. But of course, people react to these things. Now, it's a theory, it's a hypothesis, and you could test it. Almost never is it tested. People instead say, oh, you just want to give tax cuts to the rich.
Segment 2, trickle down.
Now, before we get into this, look at this man. Button down shirt, tie, sweater, jacket. Talk about a throwback. But doesn't he establishes himself just by what he's wearing. Fantastic. And everything you saw there is truly him. And did you see how he broke it down? And let's break it down even further. If you tax the rich more, you're just going to use more loopholes. Right now, the rich pay very little taxes because they can afford attorneys and accountants and tax shelters and all those things, right? So it doesn't matter how much you tax the rich. Donald Trump said, if the rule is there, if the law is there, I'm going to use it. I'd be foolish not to. And he's right. I use them to the extent I can through LLCs and write-offs and depreciation. I mean, the rules are there for you to use. But most people can't afford accountants and attorneys, and the IRS code is like terrible to read. It's like drier than milk toast. But most of you don't know what milk toast is. Saltine crackers. Okay, so what we need to do with this whole tax thing is, one, get rid of the IRS. Take all that money and put it into server farms, okay? And put them in some place that the temperature and the amount of power they have is unlimited. it's perfect for server farms. And these are big buildings with a lot of air conditioning, make a lot of noise. So put them away somewhere when and they're not going to bother anybody. Like the hills of West Virginia, it would be perfect there, and it would employ people because it's very low employment. It would be in some valley where the noise wouldn't bother anybody. See how this works? And get them out of Washington, D.C. If you Google the square footage costs of commercial buildings in Washington, D.C., you will be aghast at how much the federal government, and they don't own them, they're leasing the buildings. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? Because if they didn't lease it, then they'd need a maintenance Bureau of Federal Maintenance. Get it? Bureau of Federal, never mind. Okay, so why not just go to a flat tax? And I don't, I always say 15%, but a lot of people have pointed out that's not practical. So make it whatever you want. Under 100,000, you pay this percentage. Over 100 to 250,000, you pay this percentage. Over $1 million, you pay this percentage. See, everybody would be paying in. You see how that works? It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. You're making money in this country, right? So why not pay some taxes? And don't tell me about employing people and that, they pay taxes, so you have to pay taxes and workman's comp. I don't want to hear that. That's the cost of doing business. I've been in business 40 years. I know that. That's the overhead. What I'm saying to you is the most important thing here is that everybody pays their way. No offshore accounts. If you have an offshore account, you get taxed double. If you're hiding money in the Caymans, you get taxed double. How do you like that? You move your company out of the United States, you get a 50% tariff. Now everybody says, well, you're going to pass it on to the American people. No, that used to be the economic situation. Now we just stop buying. Right? Nobody is forcing you to buy anything. Marketing is a good tool and it works well, but you as the consumer have to be understanding that you're being manipulated to buy this, that, and the other thing. And you don't need this stuff. I'm telling you, you don't need 90% of the stuff you're buying. It's just a more minutia within the system. So, we have a lot of changes coming. So we've already dealt with the tax code and the IRS. Man, you know what the savings is? In the billions of dollars. Plus, we generate more income for the tax base. We pay off the deficit. Right now, we can't pay off the deficit. The deficit's like 71 years from now, we'll make the last payment on this deficit. But if we bring in a revenue source like a flat tax on your income, then we could pay it off in probably 4 or 5 years because of the increase of money coming in. However, you want to pay it off in 3 years, FBI by 80%, cut them. CIA gone. GSA gone. Department of Education gone. All these, and people say, well, that's, 50% of the budget is Social Security, welfare, all these things that are, people have grown to need and want. No, unfortunately, I don't agree. Over the next 3 years, if you're on the dole, that doesn't mean Social Security. That doesn't mean Social Security disability. Doesn't mean any of those what they call honorable high price benefits. You got to keep those. Okay, people with that are disabled, we have to take care of it. It's part of the cost of society. But we don't need to take care of a mom with 3 or 4 kids for eternity. And then those kids turn into more uh, people who are gaming the system. So in 3 years, you could cut the welfare system back by 90%. How would you do that? Well, you tell everybody January 1, 2025, you have 3 years of benefits left. Get a job, get a trade, get a college education, start a small business. Whatever you have to do, you have 3 years to do it because in 3 years, starting on January 28th, that first 3 months of that year, your benefits are going to be reduced by 25% each month until there's no benefits. You're done. You're out. If you're walking around with 3 or 4 kids, all from different parents, driving an SUV that I can't afford, having tattoos and nails done and braided hair and uh, coiffed hair. I saw a lady, a good-looking lady, and she paid with an EBT card and she was dressed to the nines and she was beautiful. And I just was sorry. I'm 73. I just gawked. I'm sorry. I did. But when she pulled out the EBT card and paid, I kind of it kind of ruined the whole thing for me. So, and that's a judgment. That's a 73-year-old talking. So save your hate and your comments. I'm reflecting as a 73-year-old. So please, if you see things differently, just comment. Leave out all the negativity. Just if I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. Tell me how to do it right. But in 3 years, 90% of the people on welfare will be gone. Think of the savings there. We already have negotiation for Medicare prescriptions, equipment, and all that. It really hasn't taken effect, but I hope that President Trump will get in there and just tear this Medicare. I mean, people are being billed for things in Florida and they live in New York, and they're being somebody got a hold of their number, and before you know it, they're ringing up hundreds of thousands of dollars, and the federal government goes down, and it's a storefront. You see how that works? It's just another scam. Speaking of scams, let's be realistic. You catch a scammer, he goes to jail. He doesn't go to night court. Remember that show? He doesn't go to work for the government. He or she goes to jail. Now you're saying, well, what about the scammers from across the ocean? Well, this is the one part that I think everybody is invested in all across the world. Scams just don't happen in America. So if we find somebody, say in Belarus or Germany or England, that's scamming, we tell them and they go get them. I know so many people that have lost so much money to scammers, especially older people like myself. These people need to go to jail. And when I say go to jail, I'm talking about 23 hours lockdown, no internet, no phones, no nothing. If they're taking money from older people or young people or anybody, they need to go to jail. See, not to work for the federal government, which the CIA does all the time. Oh, that's another one. Get rid of the CIA and think about all the black money we can use out of that, because about 74% of the CIA budget nobody knows about. I mean, we know about the maintenance on the building and how they're going to repave the parking lot and it needs a new roof, but we don't know what they're doing as far as paying off people across the world, and everything is unsupervised with the CIA. They're liars. They were organized around a lie. They permeate lies. And it used to be when they first started, they lied to our friends and overseas. Now they're going to lie to the American people and the politicians. So what good are they? What do we need the CIA for? Nothing. My daughter-in-law got me good coffee. So there's some benefits having everybody around. All right, let's continue to talk about the wonderful world of change. So you got Elon and Shivami coming in, and they're just banging on everybody's door. Now, the smart ones are answering the door. The stupid bureaucrats are not answering the door. Okay. I like what Shivami said. If you're within retirement, retire. Elon says, I'll give you 2 years of severance pay, just get gone. 2 years of who does that? I mean, he comes from SpaceX and Tesla. He's got the money he can do that. But the federal government doesn't have the money to pay somebody for doing nothing for 2 years until you listen to Tom Sowell, and he says they've been working 30 years not doing anything to collecting a paycheck. What's 2 years? So I was, kind of changed my head around about the severance. I mean, if you're going to work and not do anything for 30 years, what's 2 years, right? Gone, bye. I love the fact that they're going to move everything out of Washington, D.C. I love that. The savings is going to be between 70 and 80% overhead costs. Imagine saving that much money. How much of the debt could we pay off? How about this one? Somebody floated this out of California, and I always disregard things out of California. It's just habit. But this was a good idea, and I really liked it. How about congressional office holders, senators, congressmen, limited to 10 people in their cadre? Some of these people have 40 and 50 people working for them, all on the public dole. So we just limit them to 10. If you can't get the job done with 10 people, you can't get the job done. You might as well move on, find another job. Now, at first I said 10, that seems like a lot. But I guess because of the minutia of running a government does have a lot of complications to it. And you need a lot of researchers. Right now, we're probably paying 70% of them to do nothing, hang around. But to make it work, I guess you do need a certain staff. So if 10's the number, 10's the number, I don't care. But it would get rid of a lot of people. Bring back the pages. We used to have 100 pages. Now there's like less than 30. Why? Because the pagers are interns and they run their asses off. You don't need somebody making $90,000 to $110,000 running papers around the Capitol. When you pages, yeah, we did it, for a tenth of the cost. And they got CEUs and they got experience. Bring that whole system back. We could save money. President Trump, Elon Musk, and Shivami said it best. All we have to do is look at the individual things within government and make a determination if it's a benefit or it's a cost that we don't need to expend. Just like we do in business, right? We constantly analyze, let's I have to do it with restaurants because that's the business I understand. If something's not selling, why is it on the menu? If somebody's working, but everybody's complaining that they're not pulling their load, why are they working there? Why, if your customers are not satisfied, which the American people are not satisfied with this whole bureaucratic system, why are we participating in it? And that means you, the individual consumer, the voter, needs to take control of it. There's nobody in there. The people that are there, the bureaucracy, the senators, the congressmen, they're just following the money. And they've been following the money since the 80s. That's when the big change happened. When politicians went from part time to full time to a major industry. And politicians are a major industry. Think about it. And I'm not just talking at the federal level, I'm talking at the state level. And even in my little village, the amount of money they spend to get elected is ridiculous. And this is all a cost that they pass on once they're elected. They just pass it on. PACs, PACs, lobbying. Not much of lobbying anymore. It's done through PACs, but we need to limit them. We need to revoke this idea that corporations have the same rights as citizens. Corporations are inert. You understand that? They don't breathe, they don't heartbeat, they don't function as a citizen. Why do they have the same rights as a citizen? Let's pull that back. The Fed, oh my God, they're like weathermen. They get it wrong more than they get it right, but they still get paid. Get rid of the Fed. Put it back into the Treasury Department. They can't do any worse than the Fed's doing. Simple, right? All right. We're about 30 minutes into it, 27 minutes into it. I'll do my little commercial here. Tom Neuender, the conversationalist. Josh, the producer. The Mad Wizard. Nobody gets in to see the wizard. Aortic Hope, good people. A group that really, really emphasizes what it is to be kind, caring, and kindness. What more can I say? PAD, way of the heart. Kim, God bless you. I can't say enough about you. You can bring complicated issues down. You have great doctors on. You have great people with great stories. And I believe in my heart of hearts that you are saving lives. Oh, gosh. It's scary, right? Few people get together on a box and they're saving lives. Aortic Hope, PAD, they're saving more lives than general population is. I mean, they put more effort into saving people, and I mean this by information as well as coming together and understanding what your life is involving and understanding that everything is not what it was and giving you that support. Plus, they also have this thing called the hangout where you get to laugh. And anybody with aortic disease or any disease, I don't care if it's a stub toe, you need to be able to laugh. Laughter and walking are the best medicine. If you keep walking, you'll be fine or you'll be better. And if you keep laughing, life is good. Okay. That's why I start my day with all comedy podcasts because I want that positivity. I want that laughter in my life because I missed it for a long time. So please support these people. It's very, very important. because they do good work. Plus, any money you send them goes into the programs, doesn't go into their pockets, which is so nice. I mean, there's overhead, but you know what I mean. They're not out there like some charities ripping off 93% in administrative costs. Yeah, I'm talking about you, United Way. I'll get a lot of kickback for that, won't I? All right, let's go on. Got another half an hour to bang this drum. Let's talk about 01/01/2005. We can make changes in our own life. We can start with ourselves. We can be the example of change. And what do I mean by that? Change everything in your life. Do the second thing. You can always go back and do the first thing. Do the second thing. Don't participate in broadcast media. Somehow they didn't get the memo that things are changing. They're still out there banging the drum against Trump and his initiatives. They're still talking about the election. There's still people out there talking about why it's such a terrible world that Kamala Harris didn't get elected. Stop. Just simply stop. Stay on the positive side. We have President Trump for the next 4 years. Good or bad, however you see it, I don't care. For 4 years, we have this guy. Look, why not support him? Tell him when he's doing good, and when he's doing something you don't like, tell him. If your congressman, your senator doesn't do what you want, tell them. And when they come up for a re-election, vote them out. That's your power. That's your superpower. Okay. Let's go on. Let's understand how you, as an example, I'm 73, right? I need to make changes in my life. My attitude. I I have a lot of history and a lot of baggage. I need to unpack, just like everybody else. I mean, you as a person, you're an individual. But as a person who does a change in their life, people around you will notice it. And hopefully they'll join the bandwagon. Can you imagine what a great world this would be if when you see somebody beating up somebody else, and instead of you videotaping it, you and a few other people try to break it up? What a great world. You see somebody stealing, instead of just walking on, it's a cost they give to you. Somebody steals a $200 tool in Home Depot, they don't care. They just increase all those tools by $3. You see what I mean? Theft from businesses, these looters that go into stores and loot them out and then set up a table and sell them right outside the door where they loot them, need to be stopped. How do you stop them? Well, you pull up in the van, you take all their crap that they don't have receipt for, you throw it in the van, you cuff them up, and you take them away. Now, New York City says there are like 400 people who do the majority of these cleanouts, as they're calling them, where they bum rush the door and clean out the store and run away. They said that about 400 people. That's all the gangs that just revolve around the city. Well, you know what? I often thought once they're all in there, if you take your car and pull it right up to the door and block the door with your car, oh, some people will climb over, but guess what? The majority were trapped in there. Or you, or some guy with a straight bed backs it up and blocks the door. Or I think that would be going viral. I think that person would be given Congressional Medal of Honor and a full pension. See, it's not, you're not shooting anybody, you're not running them over, you're just blocking them in the store until the cops show up. Granted, the cops are going to take 20 minutes to get there, so anything can happen. And don't get yourself killed to save a few lipsticks. But as a group, we can affect change. We can, right now, a lot of people are just accepting it. And the worst thing about it is they say they have a right to do it because they're so depressed and downtrodden. No, wrong, wrong. I've been in the hole, and friends have pulled the shovel out of my hand and said, "You got to do something different, Tom. This is not working." And that's all we need to do. White, black, Spanish, Asian, Hare Krishners. We just need to stop. If it's not something positive, it's not something that's going to make you into a good light, it show you as a responsible person in America. Just don't do it. Do the second thing. With all the programs we have, there's no reason for you to steal anything. You can get telephones, laptops, not laptops, tablets, uh, clothes, food, your rent paid for, job training, school training, higher education. Why would you still be stealing? So you make a couple of $100 in pocket change? That's crazy. Do you understand just the mentality of this? And what's even crazier is we, the American people, are letting it happen. We're not insisting that our governors and our mayors and our supervisors are not cracking down on this. They're throwing their hands up in the air and literally saying, we can't do it. There's nothing we can do. Well, if there's nothing you can do, get out. Get somebody in there, like our new border czar. You love this guy? Oh my God. Watch some videos. This guy he's like died and went to heaven. I think this guy will, I hope he's like, I think he's in his 60s. I wish he's in his 50s because this guy is a motivator, changed, and just lays it on the line. What a straight talker he is. And he says, everybody's saying you can't deport all these people. He said, watch me. Exactly what he said, watch me. They can leave or I put them out, but watch me. And I have no problem with this. If he goes into whole neighborhoods and checks the ID of everybody in the neighborhood, I'll be the first one with my driver's license in my hand going, hola. See what I mean? I love the fact that he said the gangs are over. He said, there's three things that are going to happen. You're going back to Mexico, you're going to die, or we're going to take you and put you in jail forever. Gives them three alternatives. I love it. It's like a game show. You pick and choose what you want. You want to go to jail, you want to die, or you want to go back to Mexico. It's as simple as that. Matter of fact, I love this guy. You know who I love? Swami. He is like the quintessential geek. He is definitely out of the internet, and he thinks everything in progression of the internet. So he gets a lot done. Talk about a multitask. You think Musk gets a lot done? You should see this guy's day. They had a couple of reporters follow him around for 3 days, and one reporter quit. He just couldn't do it, couldn't keep up. He says, it's not worth it. You guys take care of it. Because this guy does so much in one day. It's just his mentality. I don't know what it is about people that do data and social media and all that, but they don't sleep like the rest of us because their minds are going. So they're up in the middle of the night and then they go back to bed and oh my God, I can't believe that lifestyle, but it works for them. So I think big things are coming out of him because he just says he has that affect. Like he'll tell the IRS you're done, and it won't make it. It won't affect him at all. He's following the numbers. You see what I mean? It isn't personal with him. It's just following the numbers. I love that. And as far as Elon, he's a mechanic. He's the smartest guy in the world, but he's just simply a mechanic. SpaceX, Tesla, digging a hole in the ground for a tunnel. This guy is the quintessential 2024 mechanic. But the guy has the smarts. He doesn't have to come up with an idea and somebody else builds it. He looks at something, he sees how it would work better, and then he does it. Talk about old school. Talk about a kickback to the greatest generation. You know how many times this weekend with 30 some odd people, I heard, oh, I can't do it. So they lose. No, 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 no. It's a problem. You solve it. You don't leave it for somebody else. If you are doing something and you come up to a problem, you solve the problem and get on with the job. So many, and they're my children and my grandchildren, few neighbors and things, friends. And I heard it over and over again. One of the game boxes went down and they pushed it in the corner. I said, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. What is wrong? Well, there's no power to it. I said, well, that seems easy enough to troubleshoot. So I put it up on the bar and sure enough, somebody had yanked the wire out of the wall, separated it from the plug just enough. So I cut the old plug off, I put a new plug on, I plugged it in, and the game worked. See how simple it was? It was just a mechanical situation that if you come up against something, because I had the whole game thing tore apart, you know, guy thing. Ooh, I gotta look inside. No, stupid. Fix the plug and everything worked. But I got to look inside, so that was a good thing. I don't understand it, but it was interesting. It has these lights in it that flash. You can turn them off, turn them on. Pretty cool. If I do get a broken one, I'm going to pull the lights out and do something with them. They're all LED. Never mind. That's another story. All right. So I got 15 minutes left. Let's round it out. Put a nail in this coffin. What I'm talking about is change. Change is coming, whether you like it or not. 2025 and the next 4 years, which is 2029, which I probably won't be here to see, but it is my premise that if you want to change, if you want a better life, if you don't want to be paying taxes on your income, taxes when you go to the store, taxes when you go to the federal, they get gas, taxing. I mean, we're being taxed to death. That one thing will change America. Then we change the healthcare. We don't need universal care. What we need is an organized system where the pharmaceutical companies aren't ripping us off. Where the healthcare, we need transparency. We need to be able to get the bills when, you know how hard it is to get a bill from a hospital? I had gallbladder surgery and I still don't have an itemized bill, and that's 3 months ago. How is this possible? I'm losing my mind here. I mean, my aortic dissection is in the millions and millions of dollars. Why? I don't know. The CAT scan, when I first started this, cost $800. Now it costs $8,000. It's crazy. It is absolutely crazy. That is nuts. You go to the ER now, and I did from my first year of my aortic disease. I went, I think, 5 or 6 times, and it was 10 grand every time. Who the hell can afford this? No wonder we have people in the streets dying. Housing is not a right. It is not a right. Owning a car is not a right. It is something that you work for. The first car I bought, believe it or not, and you got to look this up because you're not going to know what it is. It's called a Corvette. Not a Corvette, I mean, Corsair. It was a junk car. Let's put it that way. On the passenger side, there was no floorboard. I put a piece of plywood on there, otherwise the wind would come up in the northeast and kill you in the wintertime. But I put a board there. People would ride in that seat, and if the board slipped, their feet are on the ground. It's like the Flintstone thing. Yeah, there it is. That thing was a beast. Sucked gas, but it got me to and from the Jersey Shore with a whole bunch of people in it. I got pulled over by the troopers one time on Route 9. I had 7 people in the car. 7 people. Isn't that amazing? We once went to the drive-in and I had 13 people in the car. I had 4 people in the trunk. We got in there, popped the trunk. They came out. The rest of them were sitting on each other's lap, and it was amazing. And the funny part, it was only $2.50 per car. But at the time, being young and dumb, okay. But they made it up in concession, believe me. A hot dog back in the 60s for drive-through, they got their money, believe me. And these dogs were terrible. They, if they had dogs at the end of the night, they just threw them on the grill the next day. They didn't care. You understand? Personal choices, what you want, what you need, what you can afford. I want a private jet, but I can't afford it. I hate flying commercial. Even on the best scenario, it's still a pain in the butt. Flying commercial sucks. If you want to improve the people of America, fix the airports. Newark Airport is one I fly out of all the time. Signage, place is filthy. There's no parking. You have to leave your car at a hotel and get a shuttle in because, God forbid, you should get stuck in one of the loops there. You could be days before you get to an off ramp. Seriously. Newark, if all airports suck, Newark sucks the most. And I'm sure there's worse airports. But believe me, from my point of view, can't get any help there, even if you call ahead. I literally show up at security and they don't know what to do. Here is this guy in a wheelchair, putzing along on his own because I can't get anybody for love or money to help me, with a service dog and all my bags because I have medical stuff I take with me. And they literally don't know what to do with me. It's like they didn't watch the training videos, how to deal with a handicapped person. Fix the damn airports. That's all I want. Understand that everyone has value. Now, the value of a person goes up and down with a lot of variance. The education, the age, the ability to express yourself. As we get older, you lose that ability or the need to express yourself. And you're doing a disservice to people. You have so many years and so many life experiences. You should be out there in front banging the drum and telling people not necessarily how to do things, but this is the way we used to do things. This is what we did, and this is how we changed. And maybe we should rethink it. We're not telling people that you got to do it the way we did it in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. That's gone. You can't tell people. They can Google anything they want. And I do. I watch YouTube videos. If I have something to do around the house, I've been trained to do. I can do almost anything around the house. But some of these people, they're so creative that if you don't watch the videos, you don't see how easily they made things to be repaired. Like everything used to be rebuilt. Now it's just replacement. You can buy a whole shower unit and replace it in 10 minutes. Where I used to rebuild the heads and controls, and it would take me a half a day. And now you buy it unitized, they call it. 10 minutes later, everything's brand new. Isn't that amazing? And I learned that on YouTube. Dun 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 dun. DIY. So there's a benefit, right? That's a great benefit. Putting an outlet in is like, you know, I taught my daughter to do it when she was like 12 years old. And now with the new outlets and they have strippers and wire nuts, no longer wire nuts, the screws and the slides in rather than wrapping around the screw. Oh my God. The innovations that we have. You understand that? We have such great creative minds. Let's put them to work. Let's get them to change. Let everybody look at the problems. Who knows who's going to come up with the idea? Remember the kid? Everybody was saying, "Oh, the king's clothes are so beautiful." And this little kid says, "He's naked." Remember that story? Does anybody tell stories, fables, and things like that that have meaning and emphasizes uh, the simple truth? I mean, is there anybody left that will speak honestly and directly? Is there anybody that's going to help the next person? I mean, if you make it up the ladder, you should turn around, put your hand down, and help the next person up instead of kicking him off the rungs of the ladder. I mean, you don't have to be ruthless in business to succeed. You just have to be able to produce a product and understand the market that you have, who's going to utilize this product or service or whatever. And you have this wonderful box, this inert electronic whatever that 2 years ago somebody taught me how to turn it on. I avoided it because I had too much else going on in my life, to be honest. First, it was raising kids and establishing my businesses. And then it was running the businesses and selling the businesses, buying other businesses. That was my whole world. The only thing I needed to know was point of sale. I needed to know if I was making money or not making money. You see, that was my extended computer. I always had somebody in the office who inputted the bills and came with a report on paper and said, "This is what we did. This is what it cost us. This is what we made." That's all I needed to know. But 2 years ago, 10 years into my dissection, when I finally said, I'm never going to be the leader of the band anymore, but I can also utilize my knowledge still. And what is the best way to get it out there? The internet. Now that I've been on for a while, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, whatever it is, and another month before we make major decisions, guess what? I know what I like and what I don't like. I don't like talking to this box. It's infuriating. So I need to do something different. I need to have people around me. I'm more into the conversation than having this kind of dialogue, this diatribe, this talking to a box. I need people around me to have a discussion. Right now, I'm just spitting out what I think. I need people to challenge me. I need people with different points of view. And I need that interaction. So that's one of the things that change is good, gang. 0101 2005. Figure it out. Be a better person. Do better. We all can. Even me. I'm starting with the guy in the mirror. I'm changing the things that I don't like about myself. I'm going to be more open. I'm very closed off. I'm going to be not a lot, but a little more considerate and patient, which is tough for me because I'm used to running the commercial kitchens and there's only one voice in a commercial kitchen when you're busy. When you open the doors, there's one voice, the chef's voice. When you close the door, everybody can go crazy. And that's the way I've been for, like 50 years. God, it's hard to change. It's hard to be that interactive when all you've been is the authority figure and the commander and the orchestra leader. So yeah, I need to change too. Well, we have 3 minutes left. Josh, you got anything to say? You want to yell at me, or you haven't given me the finger one time? What is that
No,
about?
because you're doing great. What am I? I'm not going to make a change. You're doing fantastic.
Don't do that to me. I hate when people do that. Anyway, 3 minutes left, so let's close this out. Change is coming, whether you like it or not. And get on board or go sit in the corner, but don't do anything that you'll regret. There's a good life coming. I'm looking at this pre 80s, looking at it like from 65 to 84. This is a time we can boom the economy, we can pay off the debts, we can downsize the government. We have leaders that we voted for that are saying the right things, and the ones that aren't, tell them to get out the door and close the border as they leave. Tell the politicians there's a new day. You don't get the job done. If you're making money hand over fist from insider trading, get out. One time offer. You get out, we don't prosecute you. We have to bring you out, push you out, drop you off, we're going to prosecute you. Hear that, Nancy Pelosi? And all the rest of you insider tradings? Mugs? That's an old term, mugs. Look it up. All right, gang. Like and subscribe. I'm Tom Nowetner, the conversationalist, with more ideas floating around my head than probably is worthwhile. But I'm going to put them out there as long as I can. And I hope that I keep getting your comments because I love your comments, even the ones that are negative. I think you make me think the most. So, like, subscribe, comment, share. I'm Tom Nowetner, the conversationalist. I'm out.